So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another rebuild challenge. We've been doing about one of these a week over the past couple of weeks, and it seems like you guys have really been enjoying them. And today, we have the Expansion Rebuild Challenge. This is a challenge I tend to do multiple times throughout every single cycle of 2K. To my knowledge, this will be the first time doing it here on 2K25, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now, by no means is this the hardest rebuild challenge out there, but I did get several requests to do one, and that's why we're here doing it today. Now, it's pretty simple. The way it's going to work is we're going to go ahead, add a couple expansion teams to the NBA, certainly something that will be happening in the coming years in the actual NBA in real life. We're going to go through the expansion draft, and then from there, the goal is just to rebuild the team, hopefully get them a championship. Let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section. Of course, just yesterday, we ended up kicking off the LeBron era rebuilds. We are going to be doing that series moving forward, but we're of course also looking for other series ideas to kind of pair alongside that. So whether it's challenges, a new series ideas, one-off videos, whatever it is, I'd love to hear from all of you guys down below in the comment section. I've been getting a lot of great feedback lately, and I really do appreciate it. So I'm excited for this one today, man. It is always fun doing these expansion teams. I'm excited to show you guys the two teams I added. Let's get into it. Okay, before we go ahead and get into the expansion draft, I want to show you guys the two teams I added. Of course, you all have eyeballs, so you can probably figure it out pretty quick. We are going to be using the Seattle Supersonics today. It is going to be the title of the video. I think the Seattle Supersonics will very likely be brought back within the next 5, 7, 8 years, something like that. Of course, the Supersonics did eventually leave Seattle, move to Oklahoma City, and they are now the Thunder, but I think the NBA, in all likelihood, is going to bring them back. And then for the Pittsburgh Phantoms here, I don't really know why I added them. I don't think Pittsburgh's getting an expansion team anytime soon, but instead of moving a Western Conference team to the Eastern Conference, I simply just added another East team. Again, I don't think Pittsburgh really going to be in the mix anytime soon for an NBA team, but it's something on the East Coast-ish, I guess. So, we're going to be the Supersonics today. I don't know if we have the first or second pick in the expansion draft. We're just going to hop in and hopefully have ourselves a fun rebuild, because I do think that we can get some pretty decent players. I'm always interested to see, what the players are that, teams don't necessarily protect. So, moment of truth. Are we going to have the first or the second pick in the expansion draft? We are going to be, wait a minute. Oh, shit. Does that say that'd be who's protected? Okay, we're on the board. We're going to have the number 1 overall pick. Jumping out of me immediately, there are a lot of talented players here. Wow, that is actually a much bigger surprise than I initially thought. So Zach LaVine, Rudy Gobert, these are two players I've seen before. Was not expecting to see Desmond Bane here. Bradley Beal makes a lot of sense. I have no idea why 2K hates Jalen Duren. I'm not even saying it from the fact that he's in the expansion draft, which he 1,000,000% would not be, but from the perspective of every time I do a Pistons rebuild, it almost automatically declines his team options, which is very, very strange because Jalen Duren is very good and, of course, only 20 years old. I understand Paul George. Malik Monk, not as much. Devin Vassell. Brandon Miller is probably going to be my pick just because he's only 21. I think the sky's the limit with him. I know how his development tends to work. So, that's probably where I'm going with the first overall pick here in this draft. But yeah, a couple big surprises on the board. No idea why the Hornets are letting Brandon Miller leave their franchise, but stupid is as stupid does. I'll certainly go ahead and take advantage of their stupidity. Now, I am only going to go ahead and make the first 3 picks. It's like a snake draft, like a fantasy football, if you will. It's obviously, you draft first, then you draft fourth, and you get it. Who else did they take, by the way? They took Zach LaVine. Okay, not really crazy surprise. Of course, I can play Miller at the 2 or the 3. I'm thinking my next pick here is likely going to be Desmond Bane, only 26. Really solid NBA shooting guard. I think he has a lot of potential. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense for me. So Desmond Bane, welcome to the team. Of course, we have back-to-back picks. Next up on the list, we're looking for either a point guard or some sort of front court member. Now, of course, we've drafted a 2 and a 3 at this point. I think Emmanuel quickly could make some sense for us. Of course, is on a big long-term contract, but of course is only 25 years old. I'll be interested to see if I sort this by age, what are the players looking like that are sitting here? I mean, of course, you wouldn't think any of the young superstar potential guys are on the board, but I mean, we got Brandon Miller here, so I don't really know what's a possibility at this point. So I'll go over to the 23-year-olds to just see who's the best overall sitting there. It's going to be Jaime Jaquez Jr., who I'm actually interested to see what'll end up happening for the rest of his career. It's going to be Emmanuel quickly. I will sim the rest of this draft. I'll see you guys with the full team. Let's go ahead and see how the CPU did the rest of the draft. Of course, we went ahead and made the first 3 picks, and from there on out, it was the CPU. So we draft, oh no. I was hoping they were not going to draft me Paul George. That is not a contract I really love. Of course, this is not a realistic rebuild, but I don't know, just don't really love it. So Desmond Bane, Paul George, Brandon Miller quickly. Also got Draymond Green, who is currently listed as a center for God knows what reason. I know the Warriors have been playing some small ball, so I do get it, but yeah, interesting. Fred VanVleet, Alex Caruso, Mitchell Robinson's a pretty nice pickup. I will say that. Max Strus, Isaiah Collier? He's been a really, really solid rookie for the Utah Jazz this year. Again, really surprising about some of these names that were kind of sitting here in this draft for me. I think the biggest thing for the Hornets is, what is it, 8 protected players? You get 9, something like that. It's more than a serviceable amount where you think, the number 3 or number 2 overall pick from the 2023 draft probably would have been protected. He's also one of your best players, but again, stupid is as stupid does. Jalen Smith, JRE, Justin Champagnie, and then Torrey Craig rounding out this roster. It's not too bad. Hell, it's actually probably better than some NBA teams. We are definitely going to be making some trades once again. I'm sure many of you are aware. This is not a realistic rebuild, so their trades are definitely not going to look anything like it could potentially in real life. So something else I wanted to ask, I don't know why, I'm just curious. I may even make it the pinned comment on this video. I think the answer for many of you will probably be Paul George, but who do you think is currently the worst contract in the league? I mean, I think for many years it probably would have been Ben Simmons, but of course he's now been bought out and is a member of the Clippers. I think Paul George probably takes that right now. So if it's not Paul George, who do you think it is? Just let me know. I'm curious. All right, let's get into some trades. First trade of today's video is going to come to the Los Angeles Clippers, and it is a big one. We are sending out Jalen Smith, Fred VanVleet, and Jeremiah Robinson Earl, and in return, we're getting Ivica Zubac and Ben Simmons. Now, I know, funny enough, we just mentioned Ben Simmons as formerly one of the worst contracts in basketball, and although it says he's making $40 million here from the Clippers, I'm almost positive it's close to a minimum with the Clippers in real life, because I think the Nets kind of bottom out. But nonetheless, it's $40 million here. It's one season. I'm not super worried about it. Zubac's obviously the piece I'm super excited to get here. He's going to be a major upgrade at our center spot. And ultimately, I've run into some issues before with trying to trade Fred VanVleet. He has a team option this offseason, which of course I could just decline, but I don't know why. There's been a lot of problems in the past trading him, and well, the Clippers are willing to do this without me giving up a single draft pick. So I'm pretty excited about that. Of course, excited to have Zubac here. He's going to be the new starter. Robinson will slide to the bench. Of course, I did move Draymond Green to the power forward spot. I'm not saying this is going to be a contender year one. I think we're definitely still pretty far away from that, but we're not crazy off. I think this team could maybe fight for a play-in spot with a couple more moves. Swinging a deal here with the Chicago Bulls. Of course, we did just acquire Ben Simmons from the Los Angeles Clippers. We are now immediately going to flip him to Chicago, and in return, getting ourselves Lonzo Ball and Kevin Huerter. Now, this is a deal for a couple different reasons. First and foremost, we are in desperate need of a backup shooting guard. Kevin Huerter is going to provide that. Lonzo Ball likely will not play here in year one. We have 2 solid point guard options, but he could be a trade piece come off-season number 1. So, it's not my favorite deal in the world. We're not really giving up a ton in terms of value, though. Both these players are expiring, and neither of which were going to be in the rotation. So one future second-round draft pick is certainly not the end of the world for me. I think that's a pretty good trade for us. Final trade here before we end up kicking off year number 1. Alex Caruso was pretty much the 4th small forward on this team, and there's certainly an argument to be made that I could have just moved him to the shooting guard spot, but he's 30. He's going to regress. We're all pretty much aware of that. Now, Kenrich Williams is going to come in here. It's going to be a slight upgrade at my backup power forward spot, and along with that, we're getting a future first-round draft pick as well. So nothing against Caruso. His defense obviously could have been really impactful with this team, but unfortunately, I was not able to find a Paul George trade, so he will be the backup behind Brandon Miller at the 3 here for year number 1. So Kenrich Williams, excited to have him on this team along with a future first-round draft pick. Williams also, of course, on a multi-year contract. So at this point, I've kind of solidified the way the rotation is going to work. It's going to be Quickly and Collier. It's going to be Desmond Bane, Kevin Huerter. It's going to be Brandon Miller, Paul George, of course, Max Strus. Also drafted by this team. There's just not really a spot for him right now. So, of course, with the multi-year deal, we'll sort that out off-season number 1 time, whether he's in the rotation next year or he just ends up getting included in a bigger trade. Power forward spot's going to be Draymond and now Kenrich Williams. We also do have Justin Champagnie here. And finally, Ivica Zubac, who does, by the way, have a contract extension, and Mitchell Robinson. So that's the team. I don't expect to necessarily be terrible. Again, I don't think we're going to be in the mix for a championship or anything like that. And of course, I did, pretty much intentionally chose the Seattle Supersonics because I wanted to make it a little bit more challenging and have a team in the West, and hopefully we're all pretty much on the same page with that. But I think we can make some noise. I think we can be relatively dangerous here for year number 1. I mean, hell, looking at it, we already have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 80+ overalls for an expansion team. That's not too bad. Let's set this rotation. Now the start of year 1 here in Seattle. Hopefully those are words that I'll be saying relatively soon. I think I'd be really excited to see basketball back in Seattle. But as we just discussed and have been talking about this entire rebuild, I think this could be a pretty fun team. Probably not winning a championship, but we definitely have a really good blueprint set for what could be a very hard or very fun rebuild. I almost said hard. Emmanuel Quickly, Desmond Bane, Brandon Miller, Draymond Green, Ivica Zubac. Bench unit will be led by Paul George, playoff P, making $40 some odd million to 20 minutes a night and be a sixth man is not exactly ideal, and it is certainly something we'll address in the offseason. Mitchell Robinson going to be my backup 5. Kenrich Williams, who of course we just acquired from the Thunder. Isaiah Collier, my backup point guard. And finally, Kevin Huerter, rounding out the 10-man rotation. Something I do not know is who the hell is our head coach? Millen Mack. Okay, I don't want to, already completely shoot him down, but those ratings are, well, I'd say not great, but that would be a little bit too generous. They fucking suck. So we'll have to see how this, first season goes, but I'm not making any promises long-term with him. I'll just see you guys at the end of year 1 here. Actually, I want to just sim through this first game with you against Pittsburgh. The battle of the expansion teams. Who wins? We do. Of course we do. I'll see you guys at the end of year 1. Luka Doncic, donning the Lakers jersey. He is your MVP here at the end of the first season in Seattle. We finished with a record of 48-34. All things considered, that's pretty damn good. I mean, we're 2 games off of 50 wins, which is not a bad benchmark for a team that pretty much came together in the blink of an eye, if you will. Jared McCain ends up winning Rookie of the Year. He was well on his way to doing that, of course, before he ended up having a season-ending injury. Russell Westbrook, 6th Man of the Year in Denver. He got Wemby winning Depoy. Desmond Bane does win Most Improved for us. So, again, not really sure why Memphis was willing to let him go for literally nothing, but they were, and I'll take it. Kyrie Irving wins Clutch Player of the Year, and Jason Kidd, I'm sure many of you are aware in these rebuilds here, especially year 1, Dallas tends to do pretty well with Kyrie and Anthony Davis. Of course, no injuries on. I can see immediately we are in the play-in. So this West is obviously loaded. We're going to be the 10th seed here. Going to have to go through 2 rounds of the play-in if we do want to make the playoffs. But nonetheless, we have an uphill battle against us here in a very, very good West. Here are the numbers. Desmond Bane, Emmanuel Quickly, Brandon Miller, Paul George off the bench. Not too bad. Maybe bolstering that trade value a little bit. Lord knows I need him to do that. Ivica Zubac's 11-10. Not too shabby. Isaiah Collier, Draymond Green, Kenrich Williams, Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Huerter. Led in the rebound department by Ivica Zubac, led in assists by Draymond Green. Okay, we're taking on Sacramento here. We win this one. We'll face the loser of 7 versus 8. It is Malik Monk, Isaiah Joe, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis. Of course, they let Zach LaVine kind of just go into the free agent, into the expansion draft, and now he is no longer there. So let's see what happens here. End up losing. So we're not going to be in the playoffs here in year 1. Not the end of the world. Pittsburgh's actually a 3 seed. They got bounced in round 1 by Toronto, but pretty crazy nonetheless. It is going to be a rematch of the 2022 NBA Finals, a series that desperately still haunts me as a Celtics fan, but nope, all due respect to the Warriors, and they still continue to own us. All right, man, Steph Curry, 2nd career Finals MVP. That would be his 5th championship. Okay, off-season number 1. Of course, a little bit more flexibility now. Some teams will have cap space, hopefully a little bit more working for us in the trade market, and I think we're in a pretty good spot right now. It would have been nice to make the playoffs, but we'll have a lottery pick now. They expanded the lottery to actually 16 teams now after the additional 2 us here in Seattle. And of course, Pittsburgh, we are projected to have the number 15 overall pick, and we end up sitting right there at 15. Okay, Millen Mack, who some reason they CPU signed to a 3-year deal. We have a little bit of a budget. We have close to $12 million. I'm going to fire Millen Mack. All things considered, again, I know I keep saying that. It was a pretty good first year. I just think we can get a better head coach, and I want to really maximize the potential of this year 2 for us here. Stafford could be a fun fit. I know I get him a lot. He won't be my first choice, but I need somebody with good ratings pretty much all across the board. Nick Nurse, certainly another possibility for me. Jamal Mosley also sitting here. I'd certainly be interested in him. So hopefully at least one of these other guys accepts it. We're actually able to pick and choose. So I'm going to go with Nick Nurse. He's not really a guy I ever sign. I think Nick Nurse at this point needs to desperately have, some sort of winning streak in the playoffs, because I'm not really sure what his, legacy will be outside of the 2019 Toronto Raptors run, but Nick Nurse is going to be brought in to take over as our new head coach here in Seattle. We have the 15th overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. We also have number 20 in round 2. I'm going to probably move off this pick. I will draft somebody at number 15, but ultimately we have a lot of depth on this team. I'm pretty sure almost everybody on this group or with this group was on a multi-year contract, so a lot of guys are going to be brought back in the rotation. I don't even know if the guy we draft here at 15 is going. Ooh, Igor Demeen's sitting right here. Sure. Thank you very much. Welcome to the team. Going to come in at a 75 overall. Brandon Miller, of course, will be brought back. Not really sure why the Hornets let him go. And here, as we enter free agency, again, don't really have any free agents. So we're certainly going to be working the trade market right now. We definitely do not have any cap space. I can tell you that immediately. We are actually negative $104 million into the cap. We are going to have to get creative with it. I'm talking to the Atlanta Hawks right now, and I'm going to try to find a way to get Trae Young on this team. He has 1 year at $46 million remaining. For God knows what reason, they have 3.5 stars of value on Paul George. I certainly don't really see that, but if there's a way for me to possibly do this, I would. Now, I don't have a lot of future draft assets. That's the one thing that makes me a little bit nervous. Hypothetically, could I throw Collier in here? Okay, I could. I might be willing to do that just because we drafted Demeen. I think he'll likely be my backup point guard moving forward, or it could just be Emmanuel Quickly, who's not in this deal, but may end up being in a bigger one. I think Trae Young would be a game changer with this team, and we do get it done here with the Atlanta Hawks. So I'm super excited about that. I think, again, Trae Young, major upgrade to this team. Never mind the fact that we got off the Paul George contract. It's a really good start to our offseason. We're going to make an offer here to the Minnesota Timberwolves and see if we can maybe add Julius Randle to this team. Now, in terms of value, we're certainly giving up a lot, but ultimately, I don't really think many of these guys are actually going to play for us heading in to year number 2. So, Quickly probably would have, but outside of that, I think Williams and Ball were probably going to be gone. So, if I can get this done with giving up either zero or very limited draft assets, I'd consider that a pretty big win. Now, Julius Randle's not a superstar, but he's a major upgrade in this starting 5, and they actually went ahead and took it. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think Draymond Green's also going to be on his way out. He's now an expiring contract. I think I could either maybe get some draft capital back or maybe look to move on and just get a little bit of an upgrade there behind Randle. But, Strus can now play behind Miller. Herter definitely could be upgraded, but I like this team. I think it's coming together very, very nicely. So I'm going to consider some Draymond Green offers. Again, don't want to put a lot of draft capital into whatever we do here. We don't have a lot to spare, so if I could maybe get something going, like a Jaime Jaquez Jr. Wow, looks like he actually didn't even get any sort of... Yeah, but he's not really going to play the 4, is he? Could also do this. I don't really like Miles Bridges, though. Keegan Murray's another option. Rui Hachimura. Ooh, Cam Johnson. I would be interested in Cam Johnson, I think. Herb Jones there, I do get him a decent amount. Ooh, Ron Holland? You know what, I think the youth movement here might not... Yeah, I'm going to take Ron Holland. Again, probably not the best player I've been offered, but I like the youth movement. Of course, has a team option after this year. He'll be the backup here behind Randle. So, I don't have to make any other moves at this point. Ultimately, if I can get a long-term contract at the backup shooting guard spot, I may end up taking it. I'm not willing to dish out any more future firsts, but if I can get this done with maybe just the seconds, I'd be, more than inclined to maybe take a deal here. Who the fuck gave Johnny Davis $14 million? Good Lord. Okay, I don't think the trade that I'm looking for is going to be coming. Not that it absolutely had to be. Either way, I could ultimately hang on to Kevin Huerter. He's only 26 and just pay him in the offseason. So we have our new 10-man rotation. I'd say this team is certainly better than where we were just a season ago. We'll definitely have some progression with some of these young guys, and I think this will definitely be a playoff team at the end of year 2. But let's go ahead and set that rotation. I'm really excited for the second season here in Seattle. Last season obviously got close to a playoff spot. We were in the play-in, did not end up making it, but you know what? This offseason, I think we made enough moves and enough really big additions where we will be a solidified playoff team without the play-in. Now, maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I don't think so. Trae Young, Desmond Bane, Brandon Miller, Julius Randle, Ivica Zubac. Bench unit will now be led by Max Strus, who went from completely out of the rotation to 20 minutes a night as the 6th man. Behind him is going to be Mitchell Robinson, Ron Holland, who, of course, we added in a deal with Detroit, Gordon Demeen, who we drafted, I think, 15th overall, and finally Kevin Huerter, who will be the 10th and final guy. Of course, new head coach here as well, significant upgrade with Nick Nurse, and yeah, I have lofty expectations. I hope those expectations are not too much. I am really banking on Trae Young leading this team to the promised land at the end of year number 2. The funny thing about expectations is that when you set them super high and you don't meet them, you always feel extremely let down. That would be an understatement right now. I don't know what the fuck happened to this team. We lost 10 more games than we did last year. We go 38-44. No idea. I thought this team was significantly better. We made upgrades across the board. Of course, a new head coach, and we just weren't it. I don't know if we gave up too much defense, but man, oh man, we're going to have to take a big look in the mirror this offseason because we have one offseason left, and I obviously need to make some changes. But yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm sure you are as well. Nikola Jokic does nothing but win MVPs. Cooper Flag Rookie of the Year. You got Russ winning another 6th man. Wemby winning another DPOY. Collier wins Most Improved, an old friend. Maybe we should have kept around. Luka's your Clutch Player of the Year, and Jason Kidd, Coach of the Year. Incredibly disappointed. Again, I don't really know what other way to say it. We just had the shittiest season I could have potentially imagined. I mean, realistically speaking, we're only one seed off from where we were a year ago, but if we had 48 wins, we'd be likely the 6th seed and very much in the playoffs. So, yeah, not happy whatsoever. Let's talk about the stats a little bit. Let's see if there's any distinctable way to figure out what went wrong. We obviously had a lot of offense. That kind of goes without being said. We had 4 guys averaging 18-plus points per game. I mean, the offense is clearly here. Now, is the defense here? Because that definitely could be the cause of a lot of the issues this team had. Nothing jumping out at me immediately in terms of disappointing stats. I don't often look at team stats, but I will in this case. pretty much just because I think we're in a spot right now. So we are the second highest scoring team in the league, and defensively, we were the worst. It's obviously the defense. That's something we're going to immediately have to address this offseason because it cannot happen. It can't. So, yeah, maybe I went a little too overboard on the offensive end of it, but you know what? I learned my lesson, and we will adjust accordingly right about now. Wemby and the Spurs going up against Evan Mobley and the Cavs in the finals. Spurs end up sweeping Wemby, your finals MVP. All right, it is the final offseason. Al Horford in a Lakers jersey. Give me a fucking break. All right, well, thank God I traded Paul George for multiple reasons, but that one importantly. We are going to go ahead and take a look at the lottery. I'm pretty sure I traded my first-round draft pick. Yeah, it is. It is actually in Toronto, and you can see it is projected at number 13 right now. Did I trade it to Toronto? I don't know. Part of me wants to fire Nick Nurse. Part of me says you should be gone. 3 coaches in 3 seasons is less than ideal, but if I have to, I'll go out and get Stafford. Yep. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm just saying I need to be as good as I possibly can at pretty much everywhere across the board. And there are obviously a few better coaches here than Nick Nurse. So I'm going to offer all of them pretty big contracts. It looks like Jason Kidd not willing to do it. I have my pick between Stafford or Mazzulla. Honestly, I have gotten Mazzulla a lot recently, so Stafford's going to be my guy today. Let's approach the 2026 draft, where I do not believe we have any sort of real draft pick. We do not. We'll just skip over the draft. So team player options right now. Trae Young going to decline. We're, of course, going to pay him. Miller and Holland will both be brought back. No qualifying offers on the board. And then here in free agency, definitely have a couple notable names. Mitchell Robinson, first and foremost. Kevin Huerter. Again, this is not a realistic rebuild, so there is a pretty strenuous possibility that I go ahead and just immediately trade a lot of guys that are on this team. So, yeah, let's get into it. I'll see you guys with the first move. Bam Adebayo is a player I certainly trade for from time to time, and although I try to mix it up a decent amount, I definitely am in a situation right now where I need to make an upgrade all across the board. Defensively, just overall as a player, Bam Adebayo, I'm taking him pretty much 10 times out of 10 over Randall. Now, Julius Randle was not bad for us. He did his job offensively, but ultimately we need an upgrade in this starting 5, especially defensively. Bam Adebayo would obviously be that. Now, Max Strus is in this deal really just because he makes the money work. He's also 30. We'll probably see a little bit of regression, and I desperately need to find a way to get Bam. They're actually also willing to include Jaime Jaquez Jr., which actually figures out my new backup small forward issue, so thank you very much, Miami. Now, is that the only deal we're going to make? We are not exactly loaded in the draft pick department. I wouldn't mind trying to find a little upgrade at the backup shooting guard spot. I know we, again, did just go ahead and re-sign Kevin Huerter, but this is not really a realistic rebuild. Like, I think everybody, here is pretty stout defensively, outside of maybe Trae Young. I think Desmond Bane's a pretty good defensive player, but, like, I don't know, maybe Miller, but I'm not going to let Brandon Miller go. He's going to probably be a 90-plus next season. So I think Kevin Huerter, some sort of upgrade at the shooting guard spot will probably be our final move. I am just curious. We have 3 future tradable firsts. Actually, we only have 2 because that's a protection backup. So I will just quickly glance at, some sort of backup shooting guard making approximately $7 million. Probably not the longest list in the world, but I will just for my sake, just take a quick glance and hopefully able to find ourselves, somebody who's decent enough. So let's take a look. Probably not the longest list in the world. I fully understand that. A lot of free agents here. I don't think we're going to be able to swing a Jared McCain deal given our assets. Keontae George, probably not. Cam Whitmore, probably not the best defensive player, but would be an upgrade. Bob Carrington sitting here, again, kind of similar. Deuce McBride, just maybe a little undersized. There are some names, though. There are definitely some names here that I would not mind. So I don't really know any of these that I'd love. A lot of free agents, obviously. All right, we're probably not going to be able to find, the stud defensively. I'll start out here with Cam Whitmore, if that's even a remote possibility. Actually, maybe. He's actually the same exact value. Okay, if I can get this done with 2 future firsts and all the seconds I have remaining, I would easily do it. Can I do it? No. All right, I don't have many other players I can give up, so Cam Whitmore not going to happen. I think Bub Carrington would be another really solid option. Their trade value is actually even lower, so yeah, I don't know which one of these deals will go through. I'm just really hoping we can find one because I think an upgrade would help quite a bit. Okay, nope on Bub Carrington. Maybe not Collier. Pajemski, 3 stars in value, 2.5 versus 2. If I include the 2 futured firsts, can we maybe get this done? Holy shit, is this really going to be this challenging? Please. Oh my god. This is really testing my patience right now. Who else is even fucking sitting here? Nick Smith Jr., he's a B- perimeter defensively. Are they going to take it? I don't know. I genuinely do not. I could also just wait till next season, which is maybe something I'm going to have to do. And yeah, I'll just see you guys at the start of year 3. Okay, there it is. The good news about waiting until the start of year 2 is that I have an extra draft pick to include in a trade. The Warriors were willing to do it with 3 future firsts, and just like that, we got Brandon Pajemski. So, I don't know. I'm excited about it, I guess. Let's set the rotation. We had a really disappointing year 2. It could not have pissed me off more. Now, this offseason, we made a nice upgrade at our power forward spot with the addition of Bam Adebayo. In terms of the overall department, it's not a major upgrade. We got from an 86 to an 87, but obviously defensively, major upgrade for this group. So I'm hoping it's enough. This bench unit's a little bit better as well, and I guess we'll find out together at the end of year 3. But here's how it's going to look. Trae Young, Desmond Bane, Brandon Miller, Bam Adebayo, Vita Zubats. Bench unit's going to be led by Jaime Jaquez Jr., who the Miami Heat threw in the deal for I don't really know what reason. Brandon Pajemski, who of course we just added in a deal from Golden State, Mitchell Robinson, Gordon Mean, and finally Ron Holland rounding out the 10-man. Of course, new head coach as well after Nick Nurse was one and done. Now have Mike Stauffer leading the charge here in Seattle. So I'm really hoping we're good enough, man. I'll see you guys at the end of year number 2. Year number 3, excuse me. 40 points a game seems good enough for the MVP for me. I mean, holy shit, that's an 82-game season. There's no injuries on. That is out of this world crazy good, and yeah, that is what it is. More importantly, though, we won 67 games, so we're feeling good about ourselves again. You know, we started out in year 1 with, not really any expectations. 148 games felt pretty good. Dipped down to 38 a season ago, fell off a damn cliff and felt like shit, and now we're back up, hopefully going to be winning a championship, because we actually haven't even been in the playoffs yet. Cameron Boozer, your Rookie of the Year. Back-to-back Trailblazers winning that award. Kobe White, your 6th man. Wemby wins Depoy. Ace Bailey, Most Improved. Steph Curry, Clutch Player of the Year. Mike Stauffer does get Coach of the Year for us here. So we're the 1 seed, which is really good news. I am very much hoping this team has enough experience to win a championship. We had the best record in basketball, and hopefully it is time, because if it's not, I am going to get incredibly angry. All right, there are the numbers across the board. Feel free to pause if you wish. Round 1, us and the Warriors. Steph Curry is 39, but he is still putting up numbers that are absolutely out of this world. Now, you got Buddy Hield, who's down to a 73. Jimmy's down to an 82. Kuminga, TJG, Jabari Smith Jr. in here. Brandon Clark. All right, some pretty nice additions for the Warriors, and maybe they still have the best player in the series. I do think we are a better team, though. We're up 3-1 at the moment. We end up going to Game 6, winning the series in 6. Now, moving on to Memphis. Ja Morant, Jovan Sanan. I don't know. I think they'd probably prefer Desmond Bane, but that's not my opinion. Jalen Duren's now somehow here. Got him and Zach Edey, Gigi Jackson. Okay. Should be an interesting Western Conference semifinals. Quick 2-0 lead for us. They do win Game 3 at home. We win Game 4. Close them out in 5. West Finals, us in Dallas, which makes me incredibly nervous. I understand Luke is not here anymore, but this game, for God knows what reason, just loves Dallas. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're a bad team, because, of course, fully healthy they are. Still pretty talented, but I'm not exactly loving it, even though they are a 6 seed. Quick 2-0 lead. Okay, maybe it is easier than I thought. We are up 3-1 at the moment, and we are heading to the NBA Finals to take on Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, in the Boston Celtics. So, yeah, I'm not sure why Dante Exum is coming off or starting over Derek White, but that's certainly a decision. Wouldn't be my decision, but it is a decision. Quick 2-0 lead for us. Oh, my God, 3-0 lead, and are we going to go ahead? I almost would rather lose this game, get some gameplay at home, but obviously I can't really choose that happening, so yeah, kind of just is what it is. But heading into TD Garden here, I think we're going to be closing this one out. With less than 3 minutes to go, it seems like our plans have kind of come together and ended up working out for us. Now, obviously, we had a very stressful offseason after a very subpar and lackluster year 2 here in Seattle, but obviously things have come together quite nicely, and we are going to be winning a championship outside of any, unbelievably epic collapses. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. We are just going to go ahead and kind of do our thing. We are at the point where we should, hypothetically speaking, have this one locked up. But again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Nope, let's just not get clamped off there. Pajemski, little 3-ball. Nope, not going to go. Big rebound from Zubats. He's going to... I'm so sick of the shot meter in this fucking game. 2K always is... They're like... He stepped out. They're like the best at fixing shit that does not need to be fixed. Go back to the old shot meters. There's nothing wrong with them. The one from like 2K16, it's perfect. Why do you put these bullshit shot meters in here that make the 7-foot centers smoke absolute bunnies under the rim? It pisses me off. I understand I suck at this game. Nobody has ever denied that fact. I'm not saying I'm good, but the fact of the matter is these shot meters piss me off to no fucking end. 12-point lead for us here. The clock officially hits 2 minutes to go. Not sure what our bench was really doing there, but we have this one pretty much locked up at this point. So Let's just see what we can do here. Jaylen Brown going to work against Brandon Miller. Pritchard's going to pull a 3. Celtics are a pretty good 3-point shooting team, in case you didn't know that. It's down to a 9-point game. I think this one probably still over if I had to guess, but let's just kind of break their full court press and just go up and get a quick layup to go. Thank you very much, Trey. Like, that one goes in, but the legitimate 2-foot shot for Ivica Zubac, who was wide open, I might add, did not go. Thank you, 2K. Sound logic. Sound logic. All right, we're going to do one more offensive possession. Jaylen Brown going to get a dunk, but it is probably too little too late. We'll hopefully get another basket here and close this one out on a high note. Give me the... What the fuck? Give me the basketball. Okay, thank you very much. Again, they're going to kind of full court press us here. Trae Young just kind of blow by Pritchard. A little step back, stop on a dime. Trae Young, no way. Oh, can't get it to go. Zubac gets another rebound and still fucking misses it. I mean, what is this fucking game? It drives me so where's Zubac? Fire that motherfucker into the sun. There's no possible way that he is actually blowing this game for me. And yes, I'm blaming Zubac, not the bullshit game 2K is putting out. That's a hard that one, that's on me. That one's on me. I thought Porzingis was going to commit a little bit further. I'd rather not blow this game if I don't have to. I'm going to play a little off-ball defense here. We're going to hang with Porzingis in the corner. Jaylen going to work low against Brandon Miller. Nope, off ball. That's not me jumping. Good defense. Okay, still gets to go. All right, well, we're down to a 5-point game. If anybody could blow this lead, it would be me. They have taken away the press. I am going to waste clock, but waste it with a purpose. We're going to call for the ISO on Pritchard, who actually can hold his own for the most part. Now you foul? Are we in the bonus? Is that the first under 2? I have no idea. No, it's not. We're not in the bonus. Okay, I have no idea what the hell the Celtics are doing there, but fine by me. They're going to give me a fresh 16. I think the clock was actually at 14. Again, going to keep holding the ball. Sure. Why not? Good night. Still not entirely sure what the hell the Celtics were doing at the end of that game. Felt like a really bad strategy. Nonetheless, we end up getting a championship. We end up winning it all here in year 3. It was an incredibly, incredibly stressful season, and we capped it off in the only way I like it, the championship. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, still not, really understanding why Brandon Miller was sitting there in the expansion draft, but shout out 2K and the Charlotte Hornets for their stupidity, because he was the highest overall player on this team. Although he did not win finals MVP, he was a really important piece of it. So thank you, 2K. But no, this obviously is not the most challenging rebuild challenge out there. It was one that has been requested several times, and I am happy I got around to it. I almost think in some way I had already done an expansion rebuild. I just kind of forgot about it, but I didn't see it on any of my playlists. So if I did, I apologize. But I had a lot of fun with this one. Of course, I'm always open to any other rebuild challenges. We've been doing about one a week recently, so we'll likely continue doing that as long as you guys want to see it. And then, of course, let me know any other series ideas, because we're looking for one to pair up with the LeBron era rebuilds as well. So that'll do it for me in this one, man. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.